Wayyiqra Chapter 23. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, The appointed times of Yahuah, which you are to proclaim as set-apart gatherings, my appointed times, are these: 6 days' work is done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a set-apart gathering. You do no work, it is a Sabbath to Yahuah in all your dwellings. These are the appointed times of Yahuah, set-apart gatherings which you are to proclaim at their appointed times. In the 1st month, on the 14th day of the month, between the evenings, is the Passover to Yahuah. And on the 15th day of this month is the festival of unleavened bread to Yahuah. 7 days you eat unleavened bread. On the 1st day you have a set-apart gathering, you do no servile work. And you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah for 7 days. On the 7th day is a set-apart gathering, you do no servile work. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, and shall reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before Yahuah, for your acceptance. On the morrow after the Sabbath the priest waves it. And on that day when you wave the sheaf, you shall prepare a male lamb a year old, a perfect one, as a burnt offering to Yahuah and its grain offering. 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering made by fire to Yahuah, a sweet fragrance and its drink offering. 1/4 of a hin of wine. And you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Elohim. A law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. And from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, you shall count for yourselves 7 completed Sabbaths. Until the morrow after the 7th Sabbath you count 50 days. Then you shall bring a new grain offering to Yahuah. Bring from your dwellings for a wave offering 2 loaves of bread, of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour they are, baked with leaven, first fruits to Yahuah. And besides the bread, you shall bring 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and 1 young bull and 2 rams. They are a burnt offering to Yahuah, with their grain offering and their drink offerings, an offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance to Yahuah. And you shall offer 1 male goat as a sin offering and 2 male lambs a year old, as a peace offering. And the priest shall wave them, besides the bread of the first fruits, as a wave offering before Yahuah, besides the 2 lambs. They are set apart to Yahuah for the priest. And on this same day you shall proclaim a set-apart gathering for yourselves, you do no servile work on it. A law forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not completely reap the corners of your field when you reap, and do not gather any gleaning from your harvest. Leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am Yahuah your Elohim. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you have a rest, a remembrance of blowing of trumpets, a set-apart gathering. You do no servile work, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, On the 10th day of this 7th month is the Day of Atonement. It shall be a set-apart gathering for you. And you shall afflict your beings, and shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. And you do no work on that same day, for it is the Day of Atonement, to make atonement for you before Yahuah your Elohim. For any being who is not afflicted on that same day, he shall be cut off from his people. And any being who does any work on that same day, that being I shall destroy from the midst of his people. You do no work, a law forever, throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It is a Sabbath of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you observe your Sabbath. And Yahuah spoke to Moses, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, On the 15th day of this 7th month is the festival of booths for 7 days to Yahuah. On the first day is a set-apart gathering. You do no servile work. For 7 days you bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. On the 8th day there shall be a set-apart gathering for you, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. It is a closing festival. You do no servile work. These are the appointed times of Yahuah which you proclaim as set-apart gatherings, to bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah, a burnt offering and a grain offering, a slaughtering and drink offerings as commanded for every day besides the Sabbaths of Yahuah, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vows, and besides all your voluntary offerings which you give to Yahuah. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you gather in the fruit of the land, observe the festival of Yahuah for 7 days. On the first day is a rest, and on the 8th day a rest. And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of good trees, branches of palm trees, twigs of leafy trees and willows of the stream, and shall rejoice before Yahuah your Elohim for 7 days. And you shall observe it as a festival to Yahuah for 7 days in the year, a law forever in your generations. Observe it in the 7th month. Dwell in booths for 7 days. All who are native Yisraelites dwell in booths, so that your generations know that I made the children of Yisrael dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yahuah your Elohim. Thus did Moses speak of the appointed times of Yahuah to the children of Yisrael.